Alright guys, Bloodboy here to watch himself playing some more Ratchet Clank 2. I did commentary for this episode but wasn't really happy with it, so I'm redoing it. These are just some platinum bolts I missed in the first playthrough. This LP is full of mistakes. I'm missing so many things. But at least this time I'm going back and getting them all, rather than deliberately missing them. Not deliberately missing them, but forgetting to do them completely, like in the Ratchet Clank 1 LP, where I was just missing shit left, right, and center. I was even missing missions in that one. But the cleanup videos for this one are going to be really, really long. I mean, I have to do the arena challenges, the hover bike challenges. I have to do the deserts, the snow desert and the sand desert. It's ridiculous. There'll also be, right after this platinum bolt, you'll see me getting a nanotech boost in the Jova Holobike course, and there'll just be this gap where there's no commentary. And that gap is now over. So, yeah, I wasn't really happy with the last commentary. I kept repeating the same things, and I have this problem, I think, with just talking in general, where I will say the same thing over and over again. I have the same problem with writing. I'll write about the same subject matter over and over again. I write about the same plot over and over again. When I come up with a new idea, it's like insane, because I don't come up with that many new ideas. Yeah, I was repeating the same shit and getting stuck on tangents every, like, 10 seconds. It was really irritating, and you would not have liked to listen to it. Not that many people are listening to this anyways. I've been uploading a video a day for the past 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. And the view count on the videos is going down. As in, the videos are getting less hits, and that's understandable because, I mean, I'm probably pushing my own videos out of the sub box, and they're just not showing up. I love the old box they used to have, the old system, where it was just a box. Now at the moment they have a list. I don't know how long ago they changed this, but they used to have a box with 12 videos in it, on your screen. Title, thumbnail, a row of 4x3 or 3x4, something like that. Yeah, four columns, 3 rows, the latest 12 videos. Now granted, that doesn't quite go... It's not quite a positive when you bring into it the fact that you've only got 12 and you can't scroll down to get more. The box doesn't scroll down or anything, it was just 12 videos in a box, but it was 12 videos on your screen. The list is really just... oh, what's the word? There's a word for this. I don't know if it's untidy or... there's a word, and if I can think of the word I'll say it, but I'll put it on the screen if I can't, because I have Prescavoo all the fucking time. And it's always at the worst possible point. I'm the type of person who will stop dead to think of a word, even when he's talking and has to keep talking. I will stop dead. I remember once I performed stand-up for my school. I forgot a joke, and the rule, well, not the rule, but it's like an unspoken rule. If you forget something in any dramatic performance, you just keep going. If you have to wing it, you wing it. You can't make it look like you fucked up. Because remember, the audience has not read the script. They don't know that you fucked up, unless you make it obvious that you have fucked up. If you can prevent them from knowing you fucked up, as far as they're concerned, you haven't fucked up. Right? And you can... if you've got good performing buddies, as it were, good playmates, you can trust them and rely on them to go along with you in any cover-up and lead it back to wherever it had to go in the first place. Stand-up comedian, though, obviously has no one to rely upon but himself, or herself, to do the job at hand. So, That said, I forgot this joke, and I just stalled for about 30 seconds trying to remember this joke, just standing there silently thinking. And my cover ended up being, it wasn't that funny anyway. That's not a very good cover. That's not even a cover, it's just a fucking excuse to stall for 30 seconds. You never do that. The principal actually, like, I think that was when she had to give me back like a script for a longer stand-up thing I was doing, because she had to approve all the content. And she rolled it up and hit me with it. Not like violently, just like as a playful thing, but she did strike me. You know. And let's be honest, I deserve that. Of course, I can cut it out on YouTube easy, but you know, you can't cut that shit out on stage. You can't do it. And I'm the type of person who does that. And what's weird is that I perform not the same routine, but a routine with that same joke in it. For, I think it was Class Clown's Regional Heat or something. No, the state final, which is also on YouTube. And I was gonna perform the same joke, and I forgot it. But of course, that time I just kept going. I didn't stall or stop or anything, which is the right thing to do. But I just find it weird that I forgot the same joke twice. The exact same joke was forgotten twice. And what's weird is that on the state final for the Class Clowns thing, I had not cue cards, like a list of cues on an A4 sheet. Because I just didn't have the time to rehearse. That was like during exams, and they gave me a week to prepare for that. A week. Seriously, a week? Like, what was it? They got me, I was in the normal regional heat, performed the worst monologue ever, wasn't very funny, so I didn't get through. Then they call me in on a wild card, just for lols, and then I have to pull in all the jokes I know work together into this monologue of non sequiturs, and because they're non sequiturs, they don't really have any sequence or flow. I've never performed a monologue with non sequiturs in it, apart from this one. I prefer a narrative thread, or just a thread, so I can keep up, you know, where I'm up to in the thing, and I can keep track of what's going on. Non sequiturs you can put in really any order, and they're hard to remember what order they go in. I had an order I wanted them to go in. You still have to put them in an order, but that order is a lot harder to remember because they don't link to one another. So I had to basically ask permission to get cues put on the floor to help me remember what order they were in. Otherwise I was just going to go, what joke am I going to tell next? Because I didn't have time to do that. You don't have time to work that shit out on the stage, and I mean, I'm not exactly a professional at improv. I can't wing it. I couldn't wing it at that point. I don't think I can wing it at this point either. It is something I'd really like to do, improv comedy, and I mean, this isn't really improv comedy, this is just improv commentary. I'd like to think there's a comedic element in it, but I don't know. I've got no idea if you people are laughing, I don't know. I don't have the slightest fucking clue. Because I don't try to be funny, because I mean, being a comedian or someone who writes comedy, I don't like to call myself a comedian because it sounds arrogant. But I mean, by the dictionary definition, I am, because that's what I do. I write comedy. No, I'm not really I'm not exclusively a comedian. I hate it when people use labels in an exclusive manner like that, like you are this and this is all you are, and making way too many inferences from that. And that's why I try to avoid labels and being piled onto groups or into groups, because, like, say you take my religious position. I'm irreligious and I'm an atheist. I'm an agnostic atheist. But someone can easily go, oh, you're an atheist, therefore you have no morality, or you're an atheist, therefore you're a nihilist and you think life is completely worthless, making way too many assumptions. You can make inferences from the fact that I'm an atheist. Like, if I say I'm an atheist, you could probably infer from that I don't go to church, that I don't pray, that I don't believe in, that I'm not spiritual, in that I don't believe in, you know, ghosts and phantoms and spirits of any kind. I don't believe in miracles. You can make those kind of inferences because they're obvious. But you can't make the inference that, you know, I have no morality unless you got a logic thread. And the logic thread for that is almost always, you know, oh, morality has to come from God, blah blah blah. And humanism is the one-word answer to your question that completely throws everything you just said to shit. Seriously. I don't know why you have to assume morality came from God. We can not necessarily make it ourselves, but we can analyze the world scientifically and determine using science what is and is not right. It's not that difficult. It really isn't. Anyway, I'm going into a religious rant right now. I don't want to get into a religious rant because when I do, it never ends. I don't like to be grouped into that any kind of group, really. Sometimes you have to identify with a group, like I would call myself a student because I am a student, right? But I'm not just a student at university. That's not all I am. Just like I'm not just a comedian. So if I call myself a comedian and people understand that it's just one of the things that I am, then it's fine. But if I am just a comedian to you and I'm not a human being at all, I just lose all other statuses, then something is wrong with your analysis of what I've just said. That's one of the reasons I don't like calling myself a comedian or making myself part of any group or identifying with any group. The other reason is that, as I said, people make inferences based on that. And if I call myself a comedian, I get this impression that people will assume I have to be funny a certain amount of times per minute or hour, or I have to say a certain amount of jokes, or a certain percentage of what I say has to be funny. They're expecting me to have funny stories, they're expecting me to have lived a crazy life, they're expecting me to be outgoing. You know, people make a lot of inferences based on that. Comedian is just someone who tells jokes, and you can't really make much inference from that, or many inferences from that, other than the fact that this person tells jokes. You can't even fucking determine what medium they do. You can't even say they go on stage and do it. They could write film, they could write novels, they could write poems. They could do improv. You got no fucking clue what they do. And that's why I don't like putting that label on myself. At the same time, I'd like to become that. I love the guy in the background there just having his little seizure. Lost an arm in the process of that clusterfuck. Put him out of his misery. Some water. I would like to become an improvisational comedian, not necessarily like Ryan Stiles' Colin Mockery level where I'm doing it on TV every single day, but I'd like to have the skill. Like, I've been watching a lot of Dara O'Brien lately, and he is he's like an Irish stand-up comic, very intelligent, and he just wings it. He's not quite like Eddie Izzard, who is more or less all improv. I don't think he has any scripted bits. Like, he just walks on stage with nothing, as does like Ross Noble. A lot of UK comics seem to have that improv mentality about them, which is cool. I like that because it's a really, I think it's a really tough thing to do. Having done it before, improv is not easy. Improv comedy is not easy. Working with other people in an improv situation is not easy at all. In an improvised atmosphere, you got to come up with everything on the spot. You got to go along with everything. And even the simplest of rules, like just like, you know, say yes to everything, don't block, and quickly identify the character as soon as you can. They're not the easiest rules to follow if you haven't done it that many times. It's a lot harder than it looks. Like, Ryan Stiles and Colin Mockery make it look a shitload easier than it actually is. It's really hard. You gotta be listening all the time. You gotta be on the ball. And these people, like these stand-up comics that I've talked about, they're improvising the whole time. Almost the whole time. Some of the bits that Dara does are rehearsed, because I've seen him do them multiple times. But a lot of what he does is improvised. And a lot of, pretty much everything that Ross Noble and Eddie Izzard does is improvised. They might call on previous jokes that they've used. I don't see a problem with that. I wouldn't expect you to do 100% improv. I've never said any of this before. That would be fucking impossible. But you know, it takes a tremendous level of energy and commitment and mental awareness and mental activity just in general to be able to improvise an entire fucking show like that. God, I'm failing at this. Look, I mean, this has like fucking 16 parts in it. It's really tough to do these. Because you're probably noticing I'm doing the same mistakes over and over again because I can't remember. The human brain, from what I understand, is really good at remembering things up to like 7 things in short-term memory. I can't remember any more than that. I don't know what branch at which I am making the same mistakes, or which branch at which I start making mistakes, but it's probably the 7th one. Nope, that's like the 4th one. Wow. You see what I mean? It's always the same ones I'm going to, because I've got this pattern in my head on how to do it, and that's how I'm doing it every single time, regardless. And sometimes, like, I'm wiggling the stick back to, like, go back to a path and then take the opposite path, but I don't move the stick quite right, and it goes back to the intersection, but then goes back the way it came. Which is just silly. Those things are very hard. Speaking of very hard in video games, NCS finally started uploading more, what's your face? Donkey Kong 64, so I'm like playing that again. I got to play it again today. I'm playing it, I'm basically, now that he's up to where I'm up to, I'm basically playing it with him, getting everything that he gets, as he gets it. It's kind of annoying having to play it in 15-20 minute bursts, but at the same time, it's still fun. It's still a fun game. A lot of people don't like collectathon games like that. I don't know why this game stands out for me, because I usually don't like collectathons either, but I guess it's really the nostalgia factor, the fact that I played this as a kid, and just loved the shit out of the game. I remember waiting for it to come in the post. I was like, fucking get here already. I ran home from work, because at that point I was working. I like ran home to see if the postcard had arrived. The delivery notice had arrived, and it hadn't. Made me sad face. I even left my wallet at work. I was in that much of a hurry to get this game. I was like, fuck money, I just need Nintendo right now. But he did this, there's like mini games that you have to do in the game. They call them like bonus barrels, or he calls them potion barrels, you know. Little mini games you gotta do, like basically like the arena challenges or the hoverbike challenges in this game. And there was this one called Minecart Mayhem, and there's these like 4 minecart tracks, which are they're suspended over lava, and in this one there are 2 TNT carts, and you're in a cart yourself, and you have to control where you go. You can't change direction, you can only change the track that you're on. There's 4 intersections, so you can only change tracks at the intersections. They can also change tracks at the intersections, and they follow you basically, these TNT carts. And because there are 2 mine carts with TNT on them, it's really tricky to do. I remember doing it as a kid and doing it on the playthrough I did in the emulator back in 2010, and the playthrough I did at the beginning of this year, and the playthrough I did about an hour ago.
Ratchet here.
It was a pain in the ass.
Is that your name?
Trying to do it. It was just insane. He did it in 3 tries. I'm like, what the fuck, man? That's insane. Given how, like, shitty he's been doing at some parts of the game, which people consider easy. Then he just goes to this really tricky part and just rapes it. Just completely rapes it. Massacres it. Does it in 3 tries. Then tops it off with a Gene Wilder quote from Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory and a sequelitis quote.
Why is Billy sick?
That's just too awesome.
Is he cold, hungry, or maybe just...
That was just insane.
No, take it away! Lonely.
I'm also becoming quite the attention whore. I'm like going back to his videos and checking if comments I have made have become top comments, and they have. I am just such an asshole for doing that. I don't make the comments to get thumbs up, but I still have that little attention whore thing in me that likes it when I get thumbs up. And I've actually gotten like the top comment twice in a row on his videos, which is quite cool. I'm the kind of sad motherfucker who takes quote-unquote achievements like that into account and is happy from them. I mean, granted, the first one was like reminding him that you can hold down the Z button to move the sight slower, so that was actually advice. But the other one was just saying that, you know, that minigame was really hard and that he was awesome for doing it. Silly.
We must get through to Mr. Fizz Widget.
If you still think he'll listen, you should try to catch him on the planet Bolden. I'll upload the
I wonder how that sounds.
This could be our last chance.
I mean, drinking water and you just hear this silencing. That will go under deep analysis once the education system finds this gold mine of intellect. Am I going the wrong way? Yes, I am going the wrong way. It should not have taken me that long to figure out I was going the wrong way. It just should. I am stupid. Seriously stupid. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. What's the next level in this? Bolden? Oh, Bolden's gonna be tricky. Bolden, Planet Bolden is where the no armor thing really starts to get annoying. And I predict quite a few deaths on that level. I might not die at all, I might be really skillful and get through it without dying. And I mean, I've got the bouncer, which is a very good weapon to have, but I've got nothing else. I might even go back and do arena challenges beforehand to get the money, to get the mini rocket tube or something, because it's going to be tricky. But anyway, hopefully this commentary was better than what it would have been had I not re-recorded it, and I will catch you guys later.